Hi, this is Ron Darling.
This is Skip Lockwood.
Hi, I'm Ron Swoboda of the 69 New York Mets, and you're listening to MetsMusings with Gary Mack.
Now it's time for some New York Mets baseball talk. Here's Gary Mack bringing you the latest news and analysis from Mets Nation and the world of baseball on another edition of MetsMusings.
Hello and welcome to another edition of MetsMusings. Hope you all had a great week out there. Mets came back home to play the LA Dodgers, best team in baseball, and they are the high mark of the league. That's what everybody's aiming for, to beat the LA Dodgers or to be like the LA Dodgers, and the Mets were fortunate. The Mets secured a 2-1 series victory over the Los Angeles Dodgers last weekend at Citi Field. This series featured strong pitching, some timely hitting, and improved defense for the Metsies. In a marathon opener, the Mets lost to the Dodgers in 13 innings, 7-5. Oscar Hernandez got the big RBI double in the 13th, and took advantage of a rain-soaked and error-prone game. The Mets bullpen was heavily used in that game, and it really set the stage for the rest of the series as well as the following series. But the Mets were able to rebound in Game 2 as David Peterson provided a much-needed lift as he pitched 7 2/3 innings, giving up 2 runs to the Dodgers. He helped to preserve the bullpen, and Brett Baty came up big. He continued his offensive resurgence, reaching base 4 times and driving in 2 runs. In Game 3, Pete Alonso broke a 16-game home run drought with a 2-run shot in the first inning, providing an early lead. Kodai Senga delivered 5 2/3, a 1/3 inning of 1-run ball, despite allowing a homer to Shohei Ohtani. The Mets defense shown with key plays from Tyrone Taylor and Brett Baty, while the bullpen secured the win with a 3.5 hitless innings. So the Mets come up big against the Dodgers and take the series 2-1, and they'll be going out to LA in next week, and that'll be a big 4-game series. So we'll see how that shakes out. But they've got a couple of home games left. But now let's look at the White Sox after the Dodgers came and left. The White Sox came into town on Monday, and the Mets secured victories in the first 2 games, but were unable to complete the sweep, dropping the final game. They edged the White Sox, the Mets did, in the opening game. The Mets tied the game in the 8th, won a Juan Soto sacrifice fly, and won it in the 9th when Francisco Lindor delivered a walk-off sacrifice fly, scoring Tyrone Taylor. Strong pitching performances and timely hitting allowed New York to take that first game of the series. In the second game, the Mets offense came alive. Pete Alonso and Jarrett Young each launched 2-run homers in a 6-hit first inning, giving the Mets a 4-2 lead. Young, making his 3rd straight start at designated hitter at the time, followed his first hit as a Met with a laser double to left in the 3rd. Tyler McGill, he came back. He pitched a 5 1/3 innings. Got off to a little bit of a shaking start, but got it together and really came up big the rest of the way. Francisco Lindor again added an RBI single in the 8th, And Reed Garrett secured the win, or the save rather, in the ninth and secured the win for the New York Mets. Now, Game 3, it wasn't the same for the Metsies. They fell behind early, and the White Sox dominated with a 9-4 victory in the finale. Andrew Benintendi led the charge, finishing a double shy of the cycle and recording a season-high 4 RBIs. He contributed with a 2-run single in the first, an RBI triple in the sixth, and a solo homer in the eighth. Mets starter Griffin Canning struggled, allowing 5 runs, 3 earned over 3 innings, marking his shortest outing not affected by weather. Defensive errors by Brett Beatty and Jeff McNeil in the second inning contributed to the White Sox's early lead. The only real highlight for the Mets was Mark Viento's 3-run homer in the third inning. Vientos has been struggling, but it was a shot to right center field. It was his 6th home run of the season, and it at the time brought the Mets to within 2 runs, but they just could not make up any, and they couldn't hold the White Sox down. Despite the loss, the Mets took the series 2-1 and improved their overall record to 34-22. And now it's time for the injury update. Let's take a look and see. And who do we have up here? First, we've got Frankie Montas, who began a rehab assignment on May 24th at High A Brooklyn, throwing 37 pitches in 1 1/3 innings. Gave up 2 earned runs, 2 hits, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. He is scheduled to go for the Cyclones in another rehab start tonight when the Cyclones play against the Aberdeen Ironbirds. So Montas will be going tonight. Sean Manaea is due to face live batters today or tomorrow, weather permitting. And it's the first time he's seen any live batters since he's been on the rehab trail. He will require a lengthy minor league rehab assignment to build up his pitch count when he is ready to do so. So he'll go through throwing on a mound, throwing to live batters, and then when they think the time is right, they will send him for a rehab assignment. Paul Blackburn, who has been on a rehab assignment, he finished it with a 6.1 inning outing, surrendering 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and a striking out of 4 in a very Paul Blackburn start. Now, his role with the big club is up in the air a little bit. They're not sure what they're going to do with his rehab finishing up. But Mets manager Carlos Mendoza said he will be considered as a 6th starter next week. Because, as I said, the next week after they finish the series with the Colorado Rockies, they fly out to L.A. for a 4-game set and then fly to Colorado. And they're going to be playing like 7 or 8 games straight, so they may need that extra starter in there somewhere. And Blackburn could be a candidate for that. It would make sense, being that he's coming off his rehab assignment, so why not keep him in a sort of a rotational thing and use him at that time. So we'll see what the Mets decide to do on that. In other news, the Mets have released right-hander Sean Reed-Foley. He'd been pitching at AAA Syracuse after the Mets passed him through waivers unclaimed during spring training and assigned him outright to their top affiliate. Reed-Foley has had an up-and-down tenure with the Mets, finding success posting big strikeout rates at times, but also battling myriad injuries that have limited him. Command has never been a strong point for Reed Foley, but his walk troubles have escalated in recent years. So the Mets decided to cut ties with him. Kind of a shame. He had some good outings with the Mets, but like they said, the walks and control just wasn't there. Yeah, he'd strike out people, but he'd walk the ballpark first. So they decided to cut ties with Sean Reed Foley. So we wish him good luck in whatever he decides to do. All right, let's take a break and we'll come back with the minor league news right after this.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for interesting baseball talk, opinions, and history.
Baseball and BBQ, your place for barbecue recipes, tips, and interviews from the world of barbecue. If you like baseball and if you like barbecue, then tune in to Baseball and BBQ. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Okay, and we're back, and it's time to go down on the farm. And as always, we are going to go down on the farm and take a look at some of the top performers from last week and some of the other prospects and how they are doing. Last week, Jesus Baez was named the SAL South Atlantic League Player of the Week. He went .647. He hit 11 for 17. He had 6 runs scored, drove in 10, and had 2 home runs. He also walked 6 times and didn't strike out once. So congratulations to Jesus Baez, who's really been lighting it up lately for the Cyclones. So get out to Brooklyn and catch him out. Cyclones got a pretty decent team. I'm telling you, they're a lot of fun to watch between Baez and Serrano and Benj, and they are just been playing some pretty good ball. So it's a thrill to get out there and watch them play. Nolan McLean for AAA Syracuse, he is the Mets' number 6 prospect. He struck out 6 batters over 6 innings on May 23rd, showcasing his dominant sweeper pitch. Last night, he got the ball again and was mostly good. Not as dominant as his last outing, but he was good. He went 5.1 third innings, surrendering 4 hits and striking out 5. He also walked 2. So not as great as the time before, but still a decent outing. Zach Thornton with Binghamton delivered a perfect 6 1/3 inning outing with 6 strikeouts the other night on May 25th. And he's been looking good all seasons. He's having a good year between Brooklyn and now Binghamton. And Will Watson, a hard-throwing 22-year-old right-hander, is pitching for A-Ball St. Lucie in what is his first full professional season. And he's excelling. Through 9 appearances, 7 starts, 2 relief outings over 35.2 innings, Watson has posted a 2.78 ERA and a 1.26 whip while striking out 38 batters and giving up 2 home runs. Carson Bange continues his torrent start to the year, going 8 for 17 last week with 3 doubles and 2 triples. Bang recorded just 1 RBI, but he walked 8 times, stole 2 bases, and scored 8 runs of his own for the Brooklyn Cyclones. So as I said, Cyclones got a really fun team to watch, and also Binghamton, as they continue to strive and be in first place. So let's take a look at the minor league standings. Syracuse is 24-29 going into tonight's game. They are in 7th place, 13 games behind. Binghamton is holding down first place. They are 28-17 with a 3-game lead in their division going into tonight's game. The Brooklyn Cyclones also playing well, 32-15. They're holding down second place in their division, and they are a half a game out of first. So, as I said, Brooklyn's playing some good ball, as is St. Lucie, who is 26-21. They are also in first place, and they've got a 4-game lead in their division. Bringing up the rear is the Florida Complex League Mets. They are 6-10. They are in last place, and they are 4.5 games back. And that is the minor league recap and standings as we went down on the farm. Well, as stated earlier, the Colorado Rockies are coming into town for a 3-game series against the Mets. So let's take a look at the Rockies. They are enduring a challenging season. They are 9-46 going into this weekend, placing them on pace for a record-breaking 135 losses. Their run differential is the worst in the MLB. Offense, the second fewest runs scored. Defense is not good. They have the most runs allowed. They've already changed their manager. Bud Black and Mike Redmond were replaced by Warren Schaefer and Clint Hurdle. They do have some strengths, defensive standouts. They have Brendan Doyle in center field, Ezekiel Tovar at short. Both are coming off Gold Glove winning seasons, providing exceptional defense up the middle. And Ryan McMahon at third base, he's a consistent Gold Glove finalist. He anchors down the infield defense. They've had a lot of pitching woes, though, the Rockies have. They've had injuries to key starters like Herman Marquez, Antonio Senzatella, and Austin Gama have faced significant health challenges, though Senzatella is back and is probable for the weekend. But, honestly, the rotation has struggled with a few reliable options beyond Kyle Freeman. The offense has struggled. Chris Bryant, who they signed a few years ago, was going to be their big free agent signing. He's been limited to designated hitter duties due to a serious back injury, and of course that impacts the lineup flexibility. And overall, the team ranks near the bottom in most offensive category, even playing in the hitter-friendly environment of Coors Field. Of course, they are in a rebuilding phase, and they're focused on developing young talent and stabilizing the pitching staff. And Colorado's always going to have a problem with their pitching staff because of where they play. They just can't seem to get it together with a pitching staff, though they've made an appearance. They have won them, a pennant. They have they've won divisions and things like that. They've been in contention with wild cards, but just can't get anything consistently put together. So we'll see if that changes, as they seem to be going towards a youth movement. The probable pitches, which are subject to change for this weekend's games, are for Colorado, Kyle Freeman, who is 0-7, versus David Peterson, who is 3-2. Antonio Senzatella, who is 1-9, versus Kodai Senga, 5-3. And Carson Palmquist, who's 0-3, versus Clay Holmes, who is 5-3. So that is the scouting report on the Rockies and the probable pitches for the weekend series. Mets versus Colorado at Citi Field beginning tomorrow evening. So go check it out. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Mets Musings. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, we are on all of your favorite podcast apps, and we are also on YouTube and Rumble. And if you're watching the video on YouTube or Rumble, leave a comment below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because it's very important, and you always will be informed when another edition of Mets Musings is out, and you can keep up with it. And I want to thank everybody that's subscribed to the podcast, and I hope if you haven't subscribed, because our analytics show that only about 10% of the people who watch the videos have subscribed to us. So please do, and let's drive that subscribe rate up. And so until next time, remember, keep the faith, stay optimistic, and let's go Mets. And I'm Gary Mack, and I'll see you next time on another edition of Mets Musings.